Kananaskis, hello everyone, welcome back to Gojo. Today we are in the beautiful Glenmore Park and we will be doing a review of an amazing lens I've been shooting for the last week. And that lens is the Tamron 200mm 3.5 prime lens. But before we get any further on the actual lens, I feel like we should jump into a little bit of the history of Tamron. Tamron was founded in 1950 and didn't create their first SLR lens till 1957, which was the 135 3.5mm prime lens. And this first iteration of their lenses were on the T mount, which is actually the same that's on this lens. The company was created by Yuomi Tamura, which was actually where they got the name, of course, for the company. It was originally founded in Saitama, Japan, and their headquarters is still there today. Of course, all of us, when we think about Tamron, think about all the different lenses they make for different mount systems, but originally it was this T mount that they initially created. So now let's get on to this lens. So this lens was originally released, I believe, in 1976, and there's a few reviews of it online, and it was a very typical lens for telephoto photographers of this period. It's got 4 elements in 4 groups, and one of the things I really loved about this lens immediately was how open the aperture ring was. But one thing I didn't factor in was how difficult to actually take pictures it was going to be in different locations. Of course, on any camera that's got a crop sensor, you've got a 1.7 times crops. So you take a 200mm that's already pretty zoomed in, and you add that 1.7 times, we'll do the math later, correction time. And it makes it really difficult unless you're a mile away from your subject to actually get a picture. So I shot this whole week in all different places. I shot in Kananaskis, I shot downtown Calgary, and it was really difficult to get the shots I wanted. So I've come here to do a video and photo test of it. Of course, with my Fuji Xt20, it has mad rolling shutter. So our video test will just be on a tripod. We might try a gimbal test, but I don't think the footage will be usable. Of course, with any manual lens, you're gonna need to use focus peaking, so we'll be using that as well. And then we'll get back to the studio, we'll go through some of the pictures. Before we go any further, anyone that says, oh man, this lens isn't razor sharp, well, it's a vintage lens from 1976. Not to mention, if you stop anything down, it'll be sharp, but personally, I think the softness of these images is part of the charm and part of the look. So let's see if we can get some good pictures, and we'll also roll some of the footage that I got over the last week. So this stopped down to 5.6 and we're shooting in 4K over 29 frames. This video is 29 frames, 3.5 wide open, ISO and shutter set to auto. This video is also at 3.5 in auto, 30 frames, 4K, wide open. 4K, 29 frames. So this actually used to be an artillery practicing range during the First World War, and the sign actually says to practice safety because there still might be some ordnance from that practicing. Kind of cool. 4K, 29 frames, 3.5 focus throw. .4K, 30 frames, 3.5 aperture. 4K, 30 frames, 3.5 aperture. 4K, 30 frames, 3.5 aperture. 4K, 30 frames, 3.5 aperture. To give you a better idea of the focal length, let's go from the 200mm Tamron lens to a 135mm Super Takamar. And lastly to a modern 15 to 45mm Fuji lens. Video out of this is kind of interesting. It's a little bit soft, but one of my biggest things that I love about prime lenses is it's a fixed focal length, right? Meaning you can't zoom in and out, which usually means you can get a bit faster glass. Saying that, you are sacrificing versatility as well as flexibility. I've seen a bunch of photos I wanted to get, but I couldn't get it because this thing would show me like the zit on a dude's face. Like I had these 2 guys on unicycles past me and they said, hey, why don't you take a picture? Well, I can't. I don't want to see the pores in your skin, right? And I think that's the tricky thing about a lens like this. So if you're wanting to shoot birds, wildlife, even that squirrel I got earlier, this could be a great lens. Stopped down, it's a little too soft. Also, this is my first time trying to use the gimbal as a vlogging tool since I lived in Vietnam. So I recently got that autofocus lens and a couple other things, including an external microphone, and I wanted to see if I could actually vlog with it again. I mean, it's really inconvenient. My arm's already falling asleep. The Xeon Crane 2 is a great gimbal. You can get some awesome footage with it, but it also weighs like probably 4 pounds, and yeah, the microphone, the camera, it starts getting a little hefty, but that's okay. But yeah, we're gonna go to our secondary shoot location. As of course you can see here, we are using the telephoto on a tripod and it is very unstabilized. Unusable? Up to you. I think so. Time for the taste test. Very good.
When I fall asleep, yeah, I need you with me by my side. It's all
All right, welcome back to the studio slash workspace. Of course, you guys haven't seen this area yet since I completely changed it. You might not also know that I'm an online teacher, so this is actually my office space. I use it for video editing as well as script writing for some English classes and of course all my English teaching. So kind of cool, something you might not know about me. Anyways, recapping everything, this lens I think is really, really great for the price. Okay, you know, reasonably good for 35 bucks, right? You're spending a lot less. And again, you're not getting that autofocus, right? And autofocus is amazing. And on newer cameras, autofocus has come a long ways. If you're shooting with a mirrorless camera or something like that with focus peaking and you're doing more street photography, you're trying to do a bit more artistic style shoots, sometimes with a softer image, these lenses can be a really great option. And also if you're just getting into photography, I mean, 35 bucks for 200 millimeter, that's great. Anyone can afford that. You can find it anywhere. I got this one at the local farmer's market here in Calgary. I would definitely recommend though for this lens, stopping it down to 5.6 or 8 on the aperture ring. It's just not really usable when it's super soft like that. I think it's kind of cool, but for those of you who are actually trying to take really sharp images, it's not going to be usable at 3.5. Of course, because I'm using a Fuji Xt20 mirrorless camera, this lens, of course, with the T-mount is not compatible. So you have to get a lot of different mounts depending on which lenses you're going to use. I mean, this is a FD to FX, so I can use old Canon lenses, and this one is a TAM to FX, so all the F mount style lenses that I will purchase in the future that are Tamron will be able to fit on my camera. I will say, as you guys can probably see in the size difference here, this one is very, very thick. Not a huge fan of that. It definitely adds a lot more profile to this already large lens, right? Not the best mount. But all right guys, that wraps up today's video. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought of this. I'm trying to take my videos up a notch using a gimbal, using a tripod, clip-on mic, all those things, as well as studio lights. Hit that subscribe button, like and share the video, and I will see you guys in the next one really soon. Have a great day. Bye everyone. What's up everyone, welcome back to Gojo. What's up everyone, welcome back to Gojo. I hope, oh yeah, all right, we are back. Of course, the worst part is the best place I could have shot my intro or any of this probably would have just been right here in a heated parquet.